365 Sports.
All right, the Colts-Chiefs game will make the fourth straight Colts game broadcast in Central Texas, including next week's Houston game, which is exciting for Colts fans in Central Texas. I don't know how many of us there are, but for those of us who this matters, it's awesome. I'm Kevin, again without Liam, but we're the Unstable Blues, happy to present All Indiana Sports as part of the All In Sports, Rogue Media Sports Network's 365 Sports Now. Welcome back in. This game will have a playoff atmosphere. One team needs to stay atop the AFC, and another one needs to just stay above 500 and in the playoff conversation. At the beginning of last season, you wouldn't have guessed which one of those teams it was. So let's go all in. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at All Indiana Sports and on Twitter at All Indy Sports. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. The Colts are 2-1 versus Patrick Mahomes. They have not lost to him in the regular season. Lou Anarumo is 3-4 versus Patrick Mahomes, but 3 straight when Lou had all of his tools with the Bengals. The Colts lead the all-time series 18-10. The Chiefs are my third least favorite team behind the Patriots and the Steelers. I think I've talked about both of those in other episodes. Those are kind of because the frustrating success that they had against the Colts. I think as I thought about this more, the Chiefs are maybe because they're kind of like the annoying little brother thinking that they are on the same level, at least in the past, and they just kind of weren't. The Colts made Mooney Ward and Jalen Carlisle both available off IR starting this week, but DeForest Buckner was put on IR before the last game and will not be available until after the Colts visit Jacksonville. So, promised you a guest, promised you two. One couldn't make it, as well as Liam. So, I brought in the hired gun, Jace from the Chiefs Report on the Rogue Media Sports Network. What's up, Jace?
Doing well. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk some shop with you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Our episodes, we like to have a guest, specifically in the preview show, because, you know, the post game, somebody lost and somebody won. And so there could be some bad blood. This can be more of a healthy, cathartic conversation beforehand, and then we'll see what happens. A little friendly trash talk. All right. So, tell us, before we get started, tell us a little bit about your podcast and what you've got going on and kind of how you conduct things there.
Yeah, so I work with the Chiefs Report, another podcast here on the Rogue Sports Network, and we kind of are branching in and actually going to be going into the 365 network here really soon as well.
Yep.
Thinking we're going to switch up our name a little bit, so excited for that. But we're doing daily podcasts over there on the Kansas City Chiefs from Monday through Friday, a post game every time the game is, so whether it's Sunday. I always love the Monday night games because that means my podcast that day is just a post game and we're all good and I get to talk ball after it. But yeah, it's a really fun time. I've gotten to cover the Chiefs now for three years now, and I've been a pretty big Chiefs fan since Mahomes came in from Texas Tech. So I'm a Texas guy, but I'm a Baylor person in general. But watching Mahomes at Texas Tech, you just gotta like him. And then he joined the Chiefs, and I was like, all right, well, we are good now.
That's awesome. How'd you get into the Chiefs? Did you grow up there?
No, not really. Honestly, I'm kind of I like to call it a newer fan because I liked football for a long time when I was younger, but like I lived in Houston and Austin and Dallas, and I never really picked a team because the Cowboys, I tried to pick them and they annoyed me. And so I stopped with that with Jerry. I was a huge Texans fan for my first 10 years of life, but the problem was they kept drafting defense. And they had Matt Schaub when I was 12 years old, and he threw 15 pick sixes one year. I knew it wasn't that much, but it felt like that. Yep. And we lost in the divisional round of the Bengals, and then we proceeded to draft Jadeveon Clowney. And I was like, okay, so we don't care about our offense at all, so I'm done with this. And so then I kind of just waddled around for a little bit. I mentioned my family's all Boston, so I like the Patriots for a little bit. I kind of just like football. I think that's the biggest thing. And then I started covering the Chiefs 3 years ago because I like Patrick Mahomes, and once I started covering him, I really became all in tune with the team.
All right. That's awesome. Well, glad to have you. Let's jump into it. Why don't you go first with some of the keys to the game as you see it from the Chiefs' perspective?
Well, I actually talked a little bit about this on my podcast yesterday on the Chiefs Report, but a big thing that Patrick actually talked about is the way that defenses are coveraging him this time versus last season. Because if you look at the statistics, this 2025 team is actually, in a lot of statistics, better than the
Oh yeah.
2020 team, yet the record doesn't show that at 5-5. And it's really because they're not winning those one-score games. And Patrick attributed it to man coverage and that he's not able to hit the deep ball as consistently for whatever reason. You can go with Tyquan Thornton. He's a really underrated wide receiver. Actually played at Baylor, funny enough.
Yep.
All the Central Texas guys know that one. But he has been the only deep threat when you have Xavier Worthy. But with the shoulder injury early, I don't know if that's affected it too much, but he hasn't been that deep threat. So a big thing I'm watching out for is the linebacker group for the Colts and the secondary, because I think they're going to try and keep that man coverage on Patrick until they see that he can actually go long. And that's kind of what's been the detriment to him, especially in that Jacksonville game and most recently in the Denver game for the Chiefs, was that the man coverage late in the game just shut down the offense to where they couldn't get anything going. And so whether they had a lead or didn't, they couldn't finish the game off. And that's always been a problem this year.
Yeah. Interesting. You bring that up. The one-score games is a big problem. Of course, from the outside of the Chiefs organization, we would call that they're no longer getting the favorable calls that they have been. We bring that up a lot. A lot of people want to, Chiefs fans want to fight me on that, but I just look at the the Bengals game and the Falcons game back to back, and two of the same exact calls called both in favor of the Chiefs, even though they were on the different sides of the ball. So I find this interesting from a Colts perspective. This is a Gardner Minshew flip-flop game. Gardner Minshew, I wonder if he's got some inside info that he might be bringing to the table as far as both offensively and defensively, because he was with Shane Steichen a few years ago. Also, Mooney Ward against his first team that he was with back in the day. Can these people have a rebound? Speaking of which, Open Goal Rebounder and Goal Setup has a great setup for your backyard. Click the link in the description for more. I would say that what Lou Anarumo has been great at doing, especially against Patrick Mahomes there for those 3 games straight around their Super Bowl run, is confusing and pressuring Patrick Mahomes. Lou is a secondary guy at heart, and so he dropped 8-9 DBs a lot, and there was just nobody to throw to. And then eventually your guys can get to him in that way. But Patrick has such the ability to stretch the play. You really gotta keep that coverage, what I call through the whistle. You can't just play to the whistle. You have to make sure the play is over before you let go and release off that receiver. And then you got to have a plan for Travis Kelce. And I think the best plan for Travis Kelce is frustrate him early. He has a tendency to kind of get in his head. If you can get under his skin, I think that might have to do with his companion right now. But he kind of takes on that same kind of vibe. So
you're not wrong. But.
Yeah, I think he gets flustered. So fluster him early, and I think honestly, if Jalen Carlisle for the Colts can get up to speed and back, he is a great resource because he's a outside linebacker who played safety and corner in college and for Missouri. So he's got that very versatile and kind of that Lou Anarumo style of, I like to be multiple. And if a player can be multiple and you don't have to sub in packages, that's a huge asset. And then on offense, you got to create offensive schemes to offset the spag pressure and stay ahead of the chains and to stay away from those exotic blitzes and get out to an early lead and make the Chiefs play from behind. It doesn't work usually for them.
No, and one big thing on the offensive side for the Colts purposes is Coach Spags loves to put, like you said, those really particular and crazy type blitz packages. And this year, they're getting home at one of the highest percentages in the NFL. I believe last time I checked, in terms of blitz percentage, they are getting pressure on nearly 20% of the time, which is about 5th in the NFL. The problem is their sack percentages are not going to the right number right now. So they're getting pressure, but they can't take down the quarterback. And Chris Jones, obviously, we've seen the quote-unquote lack of effort plays this season. George Karlaftis has also not been as good as he had been in prior years. So that defensive line, especially injured without their second-round pick, Omar Norman Lott, is in a weird spot where they're getting pressure, but with with Indiana Jones, as I'm going to call him,
Yep.
he can evade that pressure. That's going to really spell trouble for the Chiefs because they've got great cornerbacks, but if you make time, soon enough somebody's going to get open.
Yeah, and the challenge for the past couple games for the Colts has been that they have not been able to absorb specifically pass protection, both with the Steelers, leading to the 6 turnovers, and even with the Falcons, they got pressured quite a bit. Daniel Jones ended up with a bloody mouth over it, looking like a crazy man. I don't mind it as long as you come out with a win like you did.
That's what matters.
Right. Can the Colts offensive line kind of put the Spags pressure to sleep? Speaking of which, Joi Baby Sleep Sacks can help you put your little one to sleep. Click the link in the description for more on that. It's time to get into some specific matchups. What are some matchups that you are looking at from the Chiefs' perspective this game?
So for me, I think the defensive line for the Indianapolis Colts and the running back room for the Kansas City Chiefs. As of right now, Isaiah Pacheco was back at practice in limited form yesterday. I believe he's going to be a full participant today. Him and Xavier Worthy, both full participants. So that's a good thing. But the running game has it's been the demise for the Chiefs this year because Pop has just not looked the same. Had injury problems last year, had a really gnarly MCL injury that he's trying to come back from this week. And I almost want to say that they're not rushing him, but he's trying to get back because it's do or die time. Like, let's be honest. The Chiefs are 5-5. The AFC is in a very much bloodbath state, and the Chiefs do not have tiebreakers to really anybody above them right now. And so if Pop can come back, if Kareem Hunt can get going, that's a huge thing. And something that's, a little inside information that I was doing some research on in yesterday's podcast with the Chiefs, the under center ratio for the Chiefs is at a very bad point, in my opinion. In terms of under center, they only have about 130 or so snaps this year under center, and 85 of those snaps are runs. They run the ball when they are under center every single time, it feels like. And so I really would like for Matt Nagy to kind of try and maybe flip up the offense a little bit in terms of disguising some packages. Let Patrick throw from an under center route, because that seemed like a problem last week against Denver, is whenever Patrick went under center, they sent the house. And with Nick Bonito, even with Josh Simmons, who's a really great rookie tackle, they're going to get home. And so for the Colts, it's kind of the same way. They've got a really good defensive line that can come in and get you. But I think in terms of what I'm going to work for, Patrick, I think, will figure out the secondary and can hopefully figure out that man coverage if that's what it is. But if the running game can't get going, that's what's been the problem the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. Running backs making a comeback, which is great for the Colts, who have the number one running back in the league.
JT scares me. JT scares me. I'm not gonna lie.
We went. We said we went into the bye with the number one rush yards, number one pass yards, and the number one tight end receiving yards. So not a bad place to be. Matchups I'm looking at: Cam Bynum versus Patrick Mahomes. How can Cam Bynum kind of navigate that from the safety spot? Daniel Jones versus the pressure we talked about. JT versus Tranquil and Bolton on the inside.
Don't forget about Leo Chenal. Leo Chenal is a really good blitzing linebacker. He can get there. He can get home too.
Yeah, the blitz doesn't scare me because as far as JT, because he's been able to navigate that really. We always talk about, it's the line's job to take care of the line. It's really the running back's job to take care of that linebacking place. And then from there, just outrun the secondary, of course it doesn't hurt when you have Alec Pierce sprinting down the opposite side of the field in the Falcons game to help do that. And, Alec Pierce, lots of speed, him versus Trent McDuffie could be fun one to watch, because Alec Pierce has really shown growth in the short and intermediate. He's not just a deep threat anymore, although he definitely still has that on lock. And then we always say Tyler Warren versus who? Because who can cover him? who can do it. I mean, you could put a linebacker on him. Like, I will say Nick Bolton probably has the best speed to try to cover him. But the problem is Tyler Warren is 6'6" and, 260, 270. So if he can track him and he can't get the ball out, then Tyler Warren's just going to truck him, and it's going to be game over. But the tight end battle, I know they won't be on the field at the same time, but just to measure the Travis Kelce and Tyler Warren, the two top tight ends statistically in the league on the same field, is going to be interesting to watch. From there, you do have Sauce Gardner and Mooney Ward versus Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and Thornton, as you mentioned. So, I mean, the instant that the Colts got Sauce and now have Mooney Ward back, man, they've got two number one corners on the outside, and that can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, especially when the Chiefs' problem this year has been deep threats, and you've got two number one level corners. That's why I think it's so important for, as you mentioned, tight ends. It's really important for Travis Kelce to get out early, because if we can open up Kelce, there will be some more, at least more knowledge of him down low, and that could potentially open up high. But I'm looking for Tyquan, because if you've got Tyquan and Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, Mooney and Sauce can only be on two people. So one of them's got to open up somewhere. Just got to get past that safety.
That is true. And then I love coaching and the training it goes into that. Speaking of which, Farm Hounds can help you with healthy traits to help you train your puppies like a country mountain dogs. Click the link in the description for more on that. Lou Anarumo versus Andy Reid. What a chess match. That is going to be always fun to watch, and had a lot of matchups in the past several years. And then also Shane Steichen versus Steve Spagnuolo. Spags has got this reputation for doing what he does and being very specific with his blitzes and timely with them. And Shane Steichen kind of emerging this year after the mess that was Gus Bradley on defense, and, kind of having to navigate that. Now he's able to really be the offensive guru that he is. And I mean, the Colts top scoring offense in the league, not scored under 20 points, even in losses yet this year. And so that'll be interesting to watch those coaching matchups. Okay. It's now time for us to pick a player to watch. You can pick a Chiefs player. I'll pick a Colts player. Speaking of players, this segment is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy Sports. You can pick some players that you think, okay, well, Travis Kelce's definitely going to have this many receptions or this many yards, and you can put it together with, well, JT's going to have another 3-touchdown game or whatever, and stack those together on Underdog and win some money. If one of them hits, win a lot. If more of them hit, take a look at this from Underdog Fantasy Sports before we give you our players to watch. Football's back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code COLTS to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code COLTS. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. All right, Jace, who are you looking at as the player to watch for the Chiefs?
I think you said it best. It's Nick Bolton. It's got to be Nick Bolton against Warren, because that is such a huge part of the Colts offense. And in my mind, JT's going to get his own. Our rushing defense has been just about mid, and you just got to expect that he's going to play the way he's been playing all season. in my opinion, probably up there with the top of the MVP vote getters as of right now. So in terms of Nick Bolton, he's going to be asked to do a lot of things. He's going to be asked to look out and cover Warren, who has, like you said, a very big body, and Bolton, for as big as he is, that height advantage is severely in favor of Warren. And so that's a huge part of this defense for me, especially given the fact the offense at times can get hot or get low. If the defense can play at a steady pace that Spags has been able to do pretty much through the entire season, it can at least make the one-score games. And while the one-score games have not gone the Chiefs' way, what a better way to start than in Arrowhead, where they haven't lost a game versus an AFC opponent since 2023 on Christmas Day. So the hope is that if they can shut down Warren, I think that offense can go a lot down. I'm worried about Alec Pierce a lot. However, Trent McDuffie, I think, is one of the most underrated corners. So not too much watching that, but Bolton and Warren it's like you said, it's a huge matchup.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has not lost 3 in a row in his career, but he has not beaten the Colts in the regular season. So something's got to give here. Something's got to happen.
There's a lot of records on the line today.
I know, right? My player to watch is a sneaky one here. Talked about the pressure. I'm looking at Matt Consalvis, the right guard for the Colts. We know what Quentin Nelson is and what he can do, but this is Consalvis' first year at guard after Will Fries left, and he has been the main struggle in these last 2 games. I feel like allowing the pressure and feeling a little lost. I think everybody else on that line is pretty solid. So can those guys help Consalvis out? Can Consalvis hold his own? Because if he doesn't, Chris just gonna line up right there, and he's just gonna go until you stop it. It's just the way it's gonna go. So hopefully over the bye week, the Colts were able to kind of shore up that side of the line, because it can be dangerous, definitely with Spags and all the weapons the Chiefs have. So, well, thank you very much, Jace. Thanks for hanging and talking through this stuff with me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and excited for the game on Sunday. I'll tell you that. One way or another, it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, give everybody a plug where to find your podcast out before you take off.
Yeah, for sure. You can check us out on YouTube. That's where I post a lot of cool content. I'm a big YouTube guy, so I've got multiple videos on there a day. Plus, the podcast is live every day at some point in time on YouTube. You can also check us out on Apple and Spotify. Everywhere you look, Chiefs Report. I promise you, if you're a Chiefs fan, or if you just like football, we talk a lot of good shop, and I really am enjoying it. So make sure you go check me out.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. We will see you again sometime.
Hey, maybe we can make the playoffs and we'll play in the first round. We'll see you then.
Very cool. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back this week. We'll be back next week with our recap of this Chiefs game, plus our weekly check-ins with the Pacers, IU football, as well as our unstable pick 6 NFL predictions, IU basketball now starting, and our preview of the Colts hosting the team from Houston. So this is Kevin. And hopefully Liam will be back soon, reminding you to stay all Indiana.
365 Sports.